this fall. Verification instructions and details on how to claim your prize have been sent to your email from My Coke Rewards. Stay tuned. 3 more winners will be announced tonight. This race is 160 laps. That's how we get to our 400 miles. Pit road speed 55, 40 to 42 laps for your pit.
Yeah, that pit road speed 55, that's a killer. I mean, when you're coming off a racetrack, run 185, 190 miles per hour, that's really difficult. You probably see some guys getting out speeding. Really hard to go 55 here.
Yeah, and think about it. You're running 180 or 90 in a draft. You pull down, and you got to be at 55. And 55 feels like you're going absolutely. 55 feels like the drive-through window. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm telling you, that's what it feels like coming off the interstate and hitting the drive-through window.
And another thing is, if we see some, green flag pit stops, you're going to see guys smoking tires getting it. You want to hurry up and get to that first line entering the pits, but you got to be careful because you'll see some guys smoking tires come in there.
You will notice as our names scroll across the bottom of the screen of our starting lineup, some of the drivers will have little red Coca-Cola bottles by their names. There you see Greg Biffle, for example. Those are the Coca-Cola Racing family of drivers. Just some of that great information you're going to get tonight with our wide open coverage. Getting set to go green. If you're a racing fan, this is the only way to celebrate the 4th of July. NASCAR live on TNT. We are underway. Green flag racing from Daytona.
I guess the bump drafting has started going into turn 1 with the 2 right tucked up under the 24 there.
Well, this is the best of handling the car's going to handle all night long. That's my favorite camera shot right there. Car already a little bit sideways.
That's amazing for the first, I guess, probably 15, 20, 30 rows, or excuse me, for the first 10 or 12 rows. These guys are still side by side. Nobody tried to go change lanes. Nobody tried to go the outside. They're being pretty patient here the first couple of laps.
I'll tell you what, Kurt Busch could not get any further up underneath the rear end of Jeff Gordon's car without picking the rear end up.
Well, I think he's getting a little bit of help there from Denny Hamlin, because Denny Hamlin's got that front bumper laid on the rear bumper of Kurt Busch, and that's why I believe he got loose there coming out of 4. You can see him pushing right there. He got loose
Kurt
again.
For it.
And he got pushed down there. He got pushed down there. That's a good call.
Clear high one inside.
Yeah, I'm not sure Kurt was ready, but Denny was ready to get him up there.
Well, you know what? When he had it sideways, he was really mad, but he's really happy right now. Because, when a guy does that to you, it's like, what the heck are you doing? Oh, okay, I'm in the lead. That's all right. Cool, thanks.
And you're sitting there with Jeff Gordon. That was Jeff. You're sitting there in Jeff Gordon's position. You look in the mirror, and the 2's behind you. And then when you look straight, he's right up beside you because he got pushed there that fast. And Jeff has just hung out there on the outside, and he's lost, what, 25 positions right there.
The worst thing can happen at the first 4 or 5 laps of a race because everybody is so close to each other. So now he's going to duck in, and he's got a long way to go, Lindsay.
He does, and Jeff Gordon's radio communication says it all. He just says, knew that was coming. It's going to be a long night, guys. And the thing is, before he was hung out to dry, he felt like his car was very good. They changed a lot in practice. His crew chief, Steve Letarte, told me they changed the front geometry, the shocks, the springs, got it very close to the setup they had in February when he finished 4th in the Bud Shootout.
I'll tell you what, Kurt Busch has got to be telling his guys, hey, tell 11 to get off me. I mean, it's one thing getting pushed on the straightaway, but I'll tell you what, you don't want to get hit in the corners because it's just turning you sideways, Matty.
Absolutely. His spotter told me this morning one thing that they saw from this race car in practice,
Track
it
got
could
so
go
much
absolutely
character.
anywhere. The top,
Things
the
bouncing
middle,
everywhere.
the bottom. He especially like going up to the middle, and you saw that move. He did the same exact move in practice. Kurt said this is the best car he's ever had here at the beach. Marty?
Denny Hamlin back there, the one that gave him the shove to the front. And while he was talking about how these cars handle early in the run, Denny told me he expects his car to be extremely loose for about 10 laps. But that helps him at the end of the run when they feel like they're better than a lot of cars. A lot of people in the garage area said this morning that 11 car, the one to watch out for.
Speaking of the garage area, Dave
That was the
Blaney
one to
is
watch
taking
out
a
for.
66 in the garage.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I'm listening to that report, and
16
they're
years
talking about
later.
the 2 car being able to go low, high, wherever he wants to go. Let me tell you something, that 2 car was going wherever that 11 car wanted him to go because he was pushing him there.
And I was curious to see if the 11 car got out front. If it get, you know, sometimes you have a car that follows really good and pushes, but once you get it out in the lead, it dies like a dog.
Let's take a look and keep your eyes on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number 88 up at the top of the screen, just in front of Jeff Gordon. Does he get up into the wall here?
Boy, that car sure is bouncing a lot.
Oh, man.
No, I'd say he was safe.
No runs, no drips, no errors right there. Now, I don't think he got anything there because there was nothing on the wall. But I think Jeff did something really smart though. I think when Jeff got shuffled to the outside, he bided his time, he tucked in, he let everybody go by, and then he fell back in behind that pack. Now he's moved to the inside lane here, and he's going inside, outside. He'll be able to understand his car a little bit better in traffic because of where he's at right now.
And I don't think he's in a big hurry to get back up to the front right now. I think he's just kind of, like you said, he's riding things out. But you don't want to get too big a hurry. Just let things settle down here a little bit.
But how fast do you need to get yourself to a safe spot in the pack, though?
There is no safe spot. There's no safe spot in this pack. I mean, really, it can happen anywhere. Unless you're up front in the top 2 or 3 cars, you may as well be back in the last 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah, but you do feel more comfortable racing with certain guys, don't you?
Yeah, but these guys, these are 43 of the best drivers in the world. I don't care what anybody says. So there are better places to be, but I agree with him. At Daytona, there is no safe place to be. It can happen at any time, anywhere.
All right, crew chief. What
Man,
do you think,
those
Larry?
cars are
Well, I've been watching
screaming.
Kurt Busch in a 2 car in a Dodge, a Penske Dodge up there right in the top 5. But who I've really been watching is his teammate, Sam Hornish Jr. in that 77 car. Remember, Sam was one of the cars that had to go to the rear of the field because of going to a backup
Larry
car.
Mack,
And in
back
just
when he
6
wasn't
laps,
delayed in
that
NASCAR like he is
77
today.
car went from 43rd to 24th, so that old Dodge is on the move. And that's the thing I've seen with the Dodges here in Talladega. They don't run a fast lap, but they get their cars driving good.
Yeah, and the other thing, and compared to what Larry's saying and what Wally said, to expand on a minute ago, the Dodges are notorious for being great pushers, but not being great leaders. They can push a car to the front, and it's just the RPM band, it's the power range that the engine has. It seems to get a little bit more torque when it gets to a certain point, and they can push. So, you know, like you say, it's interesting to see who's going to be leaders and who's going to be pushers here.
But, you know, the rear, as they were talking about, is not exactly a bad spot to start in this year. 4 races this season have been won by drivers starting in the rear, including Matt Kenseth here at the 500 and Brad Keselowski at Talladega earlier this year.
Really tight entering.
It's Kyle Busch there, and you can see, watch his throttle, and I don't know if we'll see it this early. He's kind of up front, but you'll see these guys lay on the brake a little bit and not get off the throttle, because you can't get off the throttle in these restrictor plate cars because they don't react. They don't accelerate very good. So when you're starting to run here like this and you're running in a tight pack, you just start riding the brake just a little bit.
Adam, Jimmy Johnson is working his way up to the front. He's in the top 4 right now.
And he was a benefactor of qualifying being rained out yesterday, Ralph, because that means he got to start in the 3rd position. This is a race team that has really struggled on the plate races of late. Outside the top 30, both here at Daytona and Talladega earlier in the year. But there was a quiet confidence in the garage this morning with that 48 bunch. And I think we're seeing it on the racetrack now. JJ continues to ride in the top 5.
Kurt Busch now has Carl Edwards behind him in the 99 as Denny Hamlin continues to lead with Tony Stewart right there. Tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for the past 25 years. Let's check in with our friends high above.
Hi, everybody.
The Coke Zero 400 at Daytona. It doesn't get much better than this.
Ooh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, me too.
No, I mean, we need to turn down the AC. There. That should improve our gas mileage, too.
Good point. You know, fuel strategy is so important these days, whether you're on the road or on the racetrack.
That's why Goodyear's new Fuel Max tires are so special. On the Goodyear website, it shows how the innovative tread compound helps the typical driver save 2,600 miles worth of gas over the life of the tires.
Well, I think fuel strategy is going to play a big factor in tonight's race.
You know, earlier this week, I asked Crew Chief Chad Knaus about it.
Hi guys, fuel strategy has been a deciding factor here in Daytona for a lot of famous races, and I can promise you every team is going to be trying to figure out ways to go further on less fuel.
Maybe Chad can help us race this baby.
Hey, I'm all for it. Hey, enjoy the race, and remember, new Fuel Max tires will help you get there on less gas.
Guys enjoying the race from high above the track of the Goodyear blimp as Denny Hamlin continues to lead in front of Tony Stewart. Boy, the images from outside watching it this way, and then when you cut to the onboard camera, especially through the corners, such a different look at how this race unfolds.
It really is. It's a big difference when, you know, it looks like these cars are just glued to the racetrack right here. If you look at them, like, yeah, you know, this doesn't look tough. Then when you start watching how these cars dance around from this kind of a shot, it's a whole new ball game. It really is a tough place to drive. I always loved racing here, but it's certainly not sitting around riding in one of these cars.
Yeah, and like I said in the opening, when you said it, there's going to be a lot of race car drivers here tonight. They're going to have to drive these race cars all night long. You see, we go to Talladega, and Talladega is a speed racetrack. You see a line go forward and a line come back. These packs will get broken up because some of these guys will be able to be on top of the wheel and stay on top of the wheel all night long, make their adjustments, get their cars to work. Some guys won't, and they'll drop to the back.
Joey Laguna. The key is on this racetrack, I mean, is if you can keep that right foot down all the time. If your car's not handling, I don't care if it's tight or if it's loose. You always crack the throttle to let that car recover a little bit. If you can keep the gas pedal down all the way to your pit stop, you are going to be in a good position to win this race.
Well, speaking of position, you can see the guys that are moving up through the field at the bottom of our screen there. Sam Hornish Jr. has been slicing his way through the pack. He's gained a bunch of spots. Elliott Sadler's got 9, and Larry, I gotta tell you, Jeff Gordon's grabbing a handful. Oh, we got some trouble down the backstretch. 2 cars.
Mark Martin
sliding through.
Damn.
The inside of the track in our first caution of the night now.
You all right, Mark? Got a lot of got a lot of front.
Grass right there.
A lot of front damage is what he was trying to say here. Let's try to get a look. You see the
weird looking grass, I'll say
that. And I think Mark was just trying to slide up there in front of Matt, and that was just a close call, and an inch would have done it.
Yeah, and you know,
whoa, almost made it.
But you look at Matt, there's 2 cars coming from 2 different angles to the same spot on the racetrack. And, you know, it's one of those deals that's give and take. And I don't think Matt thought that he was going to come up that quick either. I hate that for Mark, man.
Yeah, he was running 6th and 9th in the points coming into tonight.
See Matt up on the high side, and he's got a pretty good run there. I think Mark just closed up on him a little bit quicker than he realized. I tell you, Montoya did a really nice job there. That could have been big.
Yeah. And you know, he got down through the grass, and we'll have to see what it did to his splitter.
This is going to give you a really good idea of what it really looked like. If you're running up high, all of a sudden you've got a pretty good run, and you've got a lot of room in between Mark and the wall, and it just closes up. And you hear Matt got out of the throttle.
He did.
So he did try to cut Mark some slack, but it just wasn't enough.
And one thing that happens when you're in Mark's position, I'm going to say this, and you know this, Wally, when you're on that inside and you got that wheel cut and you start up the racetrack, sometimes the car will begin to take off, and if you let off that gas, the car takes off twice as bad.
You're right.
It just takes off twice as bad. It loses the nose and it flies the nose. And I think Matt let off, Mark probably let off a little bit. But if you notice that white line in that replay, there's not a car length above that white line. Matt was as high as he could go. Mark came up, and they just were fighting for the same place on the racetrack.
I don't know why they're racing that hard.
It's so much different here at Daytona than Talladega. Exactly what Kyle said. It's almost like you've got to keep the thing matted to keep the downforce on the front of the car. If you get off the throttle, you lose a little bit of that downforce on the front. And especially in turn 2, these cars will take off on you. Even 5 laps, you could just nail it, and then all of a sudden, the car take off on you.
All right, Matt, first round of pit stops. You get the first call.
Mr. Second Place, the Blue Deuce. Kurt Busch peels off to his pit box. Slides right through his pit box. Locked him up. He's caught the air hose. Now backing up. This is going to be costly for Kurt Busch. A lot of spotters try to remind their drivers when they come in off the banking to make sure they don't lock up. Let's go further up pit road.
Jimmy Johnson tight in traffic, Matt. He has brought his car to a stop. It will be 4 tires and fuel. You see it happening top left of your screen. They will also make an adjustment, Marty.
Denny Hamlin, top and middle of your screen. The car was a little bit too tight for Hamlin. Half round of wedge out of the left side. He will win the race. Actually, Tony Stewart will win the race off pit road. Stewart was a little bit tight as well. An air pressure adjustment for Stewart as he leaves pit road.
Well, I tell you, I think that's going to cost Kurt Busch about 15, maybe 20 positions that slide through the pits.
That's a little tough this early, right? You know what I mean? But at least he's got time to recover from it.
You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT. We're back live at Daytona, the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona, powered by Coca-Cola. First round of pit stops completed. And Kyle, you picked up on something in that Kurt Busch incident on pit road that really saved them.
Yeah, we were calling the pit stop when he came down pit road, and Matt was doing a great job of calling it. But watch this. This is something you don't practice. The 2 comes in, slides through the pit, and you see the sign guy. He catches the hose and lifts the hose up so that he doesn't run over the hose.
That's
he
insane.
drops it back down in front of him. They go on and finish their pit stop. That is truly amazing to be that much on your feet. You see it again. See the sign right there? You see the guy run out with the hose.
Oh!
Boom, he runs through the sign. You heard it hit right there. He's got the hose up in the air. He drops it back down. Pit stop continues. That's where a team, when something happens bad, you adjust to it quickly. And you lose time, but you don't lose as much as what he would have running over it, the penalty of running over a hose, and everything else that goes along with that.
Well, you see Kurt's crew being listed at the bottom of the screen, all led by Pat Tryson. And they didn't have
the pit sign guys name on there, so we need to get those guys back on there because he's a hero.
That's impressive. The front tire guy and the pit sign guy, that's impressive for those two to work together like that.
Okay, our first look at the double file restart now on a super speedway.
And Hamlin took, that's I probably figured he would take the outside. Or wait, Stewart, did he come out of the pits first?
Stewart's actually the leader,
so
and he went to the inside.
So I guess I might be a little bit surprised about that, but
we're back green.
Yeah, I would be a little bit surprised about that, taking the inside, especially after the start of the race when he got beat off the line. And the 2 and the 24 went to the front. The 11 car didn't get a great restart there on the outside.
Marty, what do you think of that lane choice by Tony?
Well, actually, I talked to Tony Stewart and several other drivers about that this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, and they all said it really didn't matter where your car worked best. It was more who was behind you in line. If you felt like a car was behind you that could help push you a little bit better, that's the lane you would select. So obviously, he felt like Jimmy Johnson would give him the best push on this restart, Larry Mack.
Well, Tony Stewart told us in the pre-race show that he loves rain on Friday, or in the case of here, yeah, it was Friday when qualifying got rained out, because that put him on the pole as a points leader, and the accolade that goes with that is pit selection. And what won him the battle off pit road, he gets that very last pit box leaving pit road. He only has to move a little distance to win the battle, and that's exactly what that 14 team did under that caution. It's a great pit selection, especially under caution.
Jeff Gordon has moved back into the top 10, and Kurt Busch came into that pit stop in third, went back out in 21st, so he's got a little bit of work to do here as he sits in the middle there. Ryan Newman is driving the U.S. Army Chevy Impala, but the Army has some impressive vehicles of their own. Let's see how they match up to NASCAR.
I command the mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicle.
I drive the number 39 U.S. Army Haas Automation Chevy Impala SS, weighing in at 3,400 pounds.
Well, my vehicle weighs more than 21 tons. It's got 4 speeds and a 350 horsepower engine.
4-speed, 850 horsepower.
I can go 300 miles on a tank of gas.
80 miles, 18 gallons. But who's counting anyway?
My vehicle seats a driver, 4 passengers, a truck commander, and a gunner.
1 driver, that's all you need.
Blue Force tracker with the built-in GPS.
Digital 2-way radios with my crew chief and spotter. Check.
It ascends on a 60-degree grade without losing stability.
31-degree bank turns.
I can conquer all terrain. Sand, mud, snow, ice.
Short track, intermediate, super speedway, and road courses.
I can take her for a swim into 3 feet of water without warning.
Floating rear axle suspension.
Nice try.
A pit stop for 4 tires and fuel in under 15 seconds.
My tires automatically inflate. The weapon station can mount a 50 caliber machine gun or a 40 millimeter automatic grenade launcher.
There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Find out more at goarmy.com/racing.
Where can a marketing administrator be a watercraft engineer? Where can a doctor serve his community while also treating patients around the world? Where can a student stay in school while expanding his education beyond the classroom? In the U.S. Army Reserve, you'll find the strength to develop new skills and gain an edge to get ahead. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Visit goarmy.com/reserve.
These commercials help with like recruiting.
Ryan Newman right now is running.
Especially back in the day, because U.S. Army was pretty big.
Got a tank.
And a Navy.
Have any of that stuff?
On recruiting in NASCAR.
Some of it you're trying to find out how you can get a hold of now, right?
I like the grenade launcher thing. I don't have one of those on mine, but
there's been times I wish my race car had a grenade launcher. Okay, just when I'm running in 18th like he is right now.
Matt, the 39 of Ryan Newman just slipped back to 19th.
Ralph, Newman's pitting right next to the 2 of Kurt Busch. There is an open pit stall between them, but it's not a full pit stall. It's only about 7 feet. So when Busch slid through his pit and all of that commotion was going on, Newman came in. His angle was not good into his pit box. He then had to back up to try to get around the car that was in front of him, the 96. So he lost valuable seconds here on pit road. Slight air pressure change, but Newman's car's good.
And you know, talking about pit boxes, let's go back to the first pit stop. The 14 comes in and goes out leading the race because of pit selection. And that's why qualifying is so important. And when it gets rained out, if you're 25th or 26th or 27th in points, coming into a place like that, it doesn't make any difference if you start 27th at Daytona, but your pit selection at Daytona is critical and can dictate the outcome of the race sometimes.
And it's who you're pitting around.
Yes.
It's not so much where that box is on pit lane, but it's really important who you're pitting with. Because
Jeff Gordon down the middle.
Those guys will come in and they'll block you a little bit. Yes, on purpose. I know it's hard to believe.
Ain't got no help though.
You never did that, did you? You never did that, did you?
We all done it.
And until they change the rules, I'm telling you, the crews would leave tires strategically placed in certain areas on the racetrack, on pit road, to block the guy behind you. That was part of the game then. But then NASCAR made you start rolling tires off, and they changed stuff, and it made it safer for the crews and the crew members, and it makes it safer for the drivers too. And we still run into each other on pit road. You see it every week where people have. But imagine dodging people, tires, and everything else on pit road.
Patrick Carpentier has taken Tommy Baldwin Jr.'s race car to the garage area, the 36. Let's check in with Adam Alexander.
And how about Jeff Burton in the early going, Ralph? He started in the 16th position, has worked his way to 4th, a combination of a good race car and good pit work. He made his way through the field on that first run despite a tight condition. They did make an adjustment at lap 14 when he came in, and now he has settled nicely in the top 5.
And that's a good run for these guys. And you know, the knock on the RCR teams this year has been they spent too much time focusing on their speedway stuff and not enough time focusing on their 1.5 mile and their 2 mile and their short track programs. And I think every one of those drivers has been a little bit vocal about that. So you would expect them to come here and put together a good package. They did last night with Clint Boyer in the nationwide race. Clint was ecstatic to win that race. His radio when that thing was over with, I won at Daytona, I won at Daytona. That was pretty cool. But you know, I looked for the 20 or for the 29 and the 31, the 33, the 07 for those guys to run good here tonight.
Yeah, and Adam talked about how tough a June the 31 bunch has had. They have not had very good finishes in June.
And Jeff said he was going to take a different approach to the setup of his car this year, hoping it would pay off this July. You're watching wide open coverage of the Coke Zero 400 on TNT.
Let's listen in on Tony Stewart's live in-car radio communications for a moment. Seems like he's having some mechanical problems.
I got some sort of vibration out here. Okay, Tony, just try to ride it for a few more laps until we bring you in. How's the oil temperature? Not so good. I'm overheating. Water and oil temps are both pegged. I don't know what it was, but I made contact a few laps back, and the car's been pulling to the left ever since. So I have way too much oversteer. Stay calm, Tony. We need you to stay cool and just focus. Give me 5 more laps until we pit. That's easy for you to
Well, despite the fact that Tony might be getting hungry out there, we can show you that the King is not actually riding along with him, but this is a great view of exactly what is going on and how hard he is working. He's going to earn a whopper before the night is over.
Yeah, and don't forget, he's got a good handling car.
Yes.
And you can
He's
just see
working
what
that
he's
wheel.
doing. He's working on that steering wheel. That's a good handling race car. We'll hopefully tonight we'll find you a guy that's really struggling. But it's a lot of work. You see him going down into turn 3 here, and you'll see when you turn that wheel, it's not easy. You're struggling with that thing.
I got to be honest, when that brand new content first started, I thought we were in car with Tony. Okay.
Kind of caught you off guard.
Until I looked over there and saw your lips not moving, and I knew it wasn't a Godzilla movie. Okay, so we were okay.
Right. Good line. I like that. That was well done. I'm sure that has gotten Wally thinking about French fries, though.
Yes, it has.
I kind of figured it might.
I don't think you're ever going to get to that kind of level with
some issues
Daytona racing
taken out
surface.
way too early tonight. What are you hearing from down there?
Yeah, Mark behind the wall right now, but we're watching
Could be too
Tony
boring
Stewart
for the
and
viewers.
Kyle talking about people's lips not moving. Tony Stewart's lips are not moving. You can see how well that car is handling. The first run, a little too tight spin on the track, Ralph.
Yeah, we do. It's Casey Mears, the same
Oh,
spot,
Casey
actually, where we
Mears.
saw
Oh,
Mark
I remember where it was.
Out, Todd. We spun off at 2.
Oh,
Still managed the fastest.
He had it saved.
I can't believe he jumped off the brake.
Oh yeah, Casey
and let
Mears
that thing
was driving
Yeah,
for
that's where
100.
you jump on the throttle.
Then it went to
At least.
7.
And look, it's easy to sit up here and criticize, so let me say that. I apologize. But I really thought that when he was on the brake that the thing was going to stop, and then it just rolled off.
All right, I'm going to try to circle him. No, that's easy. I have to circle him. There he is. You do the next one, Kyle. Ooh. And you know what? That was one of those deals where we were talking about earlier. I think getting off of turn 2, the thing just getting away from you. Watch, he's down on the bottom. No, actually the 12, but he's still, the 07 was going up, the 12 was coming down.
And I'm going to say something. He has it saved here. I think he's got a flat right front tire. But he let off right there. No. Yeah. He just rolled it back.
I don't know how you still managed to get back in
He
the
does
ball
have a
like
flat
that.
right front tire, but he just let that thing
But
roll
you'll
back.
see that a lot in turn 2. I mean, you know, you lose the nose.
Look at Stremme just come down.
Yeah, but Stremme did have he had a lot of racetrack there.
Casey was in 19th at the time.
All of
Casey
the
could have done
problems
a whole lot about
coming
that
off
one.
turn 2.
No.
Yeah, Mark Morton, now Casey Mears. Look, I don't know what he's trying to do here.
I got it. I don't got it.
What is he doing?
Clear low behind 07 if you want it. 2 back to 2 by 2. Anything you need right now, all clear.
Wow. That was a great
Wow.
angle. That really showed that the 12 car just took up all the racetrack, and Casey couldn't do a whole lot about that.
Casey could do nothing there. The 12 car changed lanes. It's like, I don't know where the 12 car thought he was on the racetrack or if it bounced and it took off that way, but I mean, he come down a half lane.
And if it wasn't for the 07, it would have been the 12 car spinning down on the infield and probably hitting the wall.
Yeah.
Because the 07 straightened him out.
Well, you've said that a lot of times these things can just take off on you, too.
And that's exactly, especially in turn 2, that's the hardest corner on this racetrack.
Second caution, second time down pit road, Matt.
Matt Kenseth apologized profusely for the incident with the 5 of Mark Martin. They had to pull out the fender on the left front. The car very good. Really doesn't want any changes to that 17. Adam?
Jimmy Johnson said the car started balanced, then it went tight. Not as bad as the first run. 4 tires fuel. They will make an adjustment. Their service being completed. Top left of your screen, Marty Snyder.
Denny Hamlin in the middle on the top of the screen says the car is too tight. They're actually going to add a piece of tape to the grill. They also make an air pressure and a wedge adjustment for Denny Hamlin. Tony Stewart said, I want more of what you gave me last time. Half pound in the right rear, also up on the track bar. And once again, hold serve here on pit road, Ralph.
Great job by that crew on the 14.
26
Jamie
the
McMurray.
grass, yep.
You're watching wide open coverage on TNT. Back to a beautiful night here in Daytona for the Coke Zero 400, powered by Coca-Cola. Pretty 4th of July. Here you see Tony Stewart up at the front of the field. Second time his crew has beaten everybody else off of pit road. Fans, let's see how Sprint can help when you can't watch the race, only on the Now Network.
Now you're watching the race. Ted Franklin is not. He lost a bet with his wife earlier in the week. It's now clear to Ted that there is not a woman alive who knows more about the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. What Ted's wife doesn't know is that he just texted NASCAR to 7777 to download NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. He's wearing a spaghetti strap ball gown, but he's also listening to live race radio on his phone. Ted is a man of his word. When Ted bets he'll mow the lawn in a dress on race day if he's wrong, Ted mows a lawn in a dress on race day. But don't worry about Ted. He's tracking his favorite driver. He can see live race telemetry. He hears his driver talking to the crew chief. He knows exactly where his driver is on the track right now. No, Ted is not missing a thing. Only his pride and one high heel. This is happening now on America's most dependable 3G network, bringing you the first and only wireless 4G
3G.
network. Sprint, the Now network.
I'm just a little concerned that
Now
Ted's
they're
from
up
my
to 5G.
hometown of Sacramento.
That actually explains a lot, doesn't it, Kyle?
That does explain a lot right there.
Tony Stewart back to the inside for another restart. You know, last night in the nationwide race, all the leaders chose the bottom for restarts.
Now, I think you'll see that outside lane hang a little bit longer this time, Kyle, instead of getting a single file. I think the last time you had Ambrose up there, and I think it seemed to me like those guys didn't want to work with Ambrose too much, and they all dumped him real quick. And now they're comfortable with each other, you know what I mean? Yes. Although Marcus has been around a lot, when you come to these racetracks, you want to look up in the mirror and know somebody that's been here a lot.
Yeah, and we talked about this last night during the nationwide race. The nationwide race had the double file restarts, but when we looked at them, they didn't necessarily work the way we thought they were going to work. And that's because some of the guys that were up front, I don't believe everybody that was up front, all the Cup drivers, were comfortable running with those guys last night. Clint Boyer wasn't comfortable running with some of the regulars over there. So it's different. Just like you say, they're not comfortable with Ambrose here. Now, Ambrose kicks their butt when they get to the road courses. Okay, they're comfortable running with him there.
Yeah. New leader, Denny Hamlin back out front. Whoa, look at Kyle Busch stuck to the bottom.
Kyle Busch.
Denny's got to go down there and block that.
He's gonna, I don't know if he's blocking or is he trying to get that push, because Kyle was coming. And if you can time it just right, look up in the mirror when you drive these cars as much in the mirror as you do out the windshield. You see a guy coming, you want to get up in front of him so you can get that push.
Elliott Sadler has moved his way up towards the front, too. He's in that black and yellow number 19, Larry.
Well, yeah, Elliott started back in the 23rd position. Another one of those dodges. I've been watching these dodges, and they're flexing their muscles just like they did in the Daytona 500. Remember, Elliott led up to 1 lap to go in the Daytona 500 before the rains moved in. Matt Kenseth got by him just 1 lap prior to the weather moving in. And remember, Richard Petty Motorsports, besides Infineon, one of the highlights of their season, 3 cars in the top 10 in the Daytona 500.
Yeah, he really felt like that one got away from him, too. Sadler way up high. He's got Tony Stewart right to his inside, Lindsay.
Yeah, Ralph, and I was going to reiterate what you said. He said that earlier, that he does feel like that is the one race that got away, but as a matter of fact, it's given him a heck of a lot of confidence here tonight. He did get on the radio, talk to crew chief Kevin Buskirk, and just say, I'm a little bit tight, but they feel like they made good adjustments. He took 2 tires on the last stop, and so far, so good for Elliott Sadler.
You saw Tony do something there. Tony got right on the door of the 19, took him up the racetrack a little bit, turned left and drove away from him and drove back down to the bottom of the racetrack. That's the first time I'd seen Tony, and I want to go on the record here. First time I've seen Tony off that yellow line all night long. Once they dropped the green flag and he started on the pole, he stayed right on the bottom of the racetrack.
But I think what happened on that deal, I think he was in jeopardy of getting stuck in the middle, and I think he moved up there,
Trying to get rid of that
in order to get back in line.
You see the 18 car and you see the spick.
He's holding him up.
Right here. That's kind of,
I don't know if he's still sticking with him.
This portion of TNT's wide
So
open
he's
coverage.
trying to get away from
the
him.
Coke Zero 400 is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, world's most refreshing beer.
That's the spot right up there. Set it down. Good job. Wants a beer. That's what I'm talking about. Incredible game.
The world's hottest sport meets the world's most refreshing beer. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR.
3 wide, deep through there in that middle lane. not where you want to be. And look at what's happening to Casey Kane. It gives you a quick indication of why you don't want to be there.
Yeah, you're right. It's crazy back here right now. This is what we were talking about earlier, where these cars start dancing
A lot
around
of
and
military
you get a run,
sponsorship back then. They
you
had Air
really
Force,
have to be
Navy.
careful. You don't want to be in the middle here, Ralph. You're right. You're looking for a spot. You're looking for a
Army was on Ryan Newman's car.
Now he's in line again.
And had National Guard as well, and Dale Jr.
Because you're holding your breath when you're in the middle like that. Trust me.
Well, I'll tell you, when you watch it, you hold your breath for the guys.
I don't really see that no
who
more.
we're riding with, who finished 4th last night in the nationwide race, only got 40 laps in the Daytona 500. So in the Cup cars, not a lot of experience for Joey Logano. Here
Shocked Dale Jr.'s back here in 20s. He hasn't really worked his way back up to the field.
Now
But
watch the run Dale gets.
Jeff Gordon
he
went
gets
back
up
to
high
him
there,
on
and
like
look at
lap
this.
5.
See the run he
Now
gets when he
Dale
runs
Jr.
that high line?
He's
And
still
if
staying
you
back
time
there.
it and it all works out right, you make up a lot of position. I mean, see, he never lifted the throttle. No. And that's what we're talking about earlier. You've got to stay on the gas here, even if it means bumping somebody, because you get off the throttle, you lose everything you worked for.
I'm telling you, as a driver here, you just about want to wear a mouthpiece because your teeth are sore when the night's over with from people banging on your bumper. But that's part of the racing here, because you saw him come off the corner, get that run. He couldn't go the inside because the 99's on his left rear quarter panel right there. He can't tuck back across there, but he's got to bang on the guy in front of him to keep him moving forward.
Now you're riding with Harvick. Watch this in the replay.
Ooh, wow.
Damn.
Man.
That's Brad Fuckface Keselowski.
Now, see, he looked at the throttle for a second,
And the 09
those
car
guys
back
are
then.
just driving away.
Yeah.
He lost 5 car lengths, 6 car lengths, and all that was, of course, he had to breathe it because the guys were wrecking in front of him. But what I'm saying is, that's a classic example why you can't get off the throttle at Daytona.
Man, that guy's sliding
was
around.
sideways off of 4 in the 44 car.
Sideways behind that 24, man.
Slideways.
And gaining on the 24 the whole time he's sideways. AJ did a great job down here in February in that 44 car. And I know, just as you said, this was a bright spot for Richard Petty Motorsports, and they were looking forward to coming back down here.
Matt, Kurt Busch got kicked way back after that bad pit stop. He fought his way up to 8th.
Ralph, he's climbed all the way from 21st up to 8th. He said that the car, he's provided a lot of excitement out on the racetrack and on pit road. He said the car almost seems like it has a life of its own.
I feel like we're loose in. I'm weirded out by the front springs and the shocks. I think we're too soft with the front springs, too aggressive with the front shocks. It goes through a bunch of mood swings. I don't know what to change to make it any better.
Now, the car was loose on the first run. They didn't make any changes, but the last segment, Pat Tryson called for an air pressure change to try to tighten up that blue deuce.
And I
The
think,
blue
Kyle, I don't know
deuce.
what you think on this. When he says aggressive on the front shocks, I think it means he's got
Ain't
like
got no cool
either a lot
names,
of rebound or
nicknames like
bump.
that
What's
anymore.
happening is he's going over the bump, and it's
Different
pinning
times.
it's pinning the front of the car down, which is making the car loose because the car's not floating over the bumps.
Yeah, and the front's pinned down, but the back and the front are not working together. And when the front's pinned, then the motion and the momentum or the energy of the car can only go to one place. It goes to the rear of the car, the rear bounces, and it gives him
I
that
think
loose
that's
feel
Casey
because
Gaines
it
in the
never
wall.
settles down. You can get real over aggressive with the soft springs and the bump stops they run now. You can get way over aggressive at a place like this on shocks.
The world's hottest sport means the world's most refreshing beer. Fox Brewed Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR.
That's the spot right up there. Set it down.
Do they even got an official beer of NASCAR anymore?
That's what I'm talking about.
The world's hottest sport meets the world's most refreshing beer. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR.
Once we got past lap 3, Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart, between the two of them, they've led every lap since. Matt, what's the latest on Mark Martin?
Check and release from the Info Care Center. He's in the hauler, but the 39, Ralph, of Ryan Newman, a lap and a half ago, came on the radio and told his spotter and his father, Greg Newman, keep an eye on my right side. I just stuffed it in the fence. We may have to hit pit road for a tire.
I know we're all looking to see if we can see something on Newman's car.
Yeah,
Here, maybe we can.
He's just going to settle in right now and try to feel this car out. And obviously, he's just going to.
You know, that was something we were talking about earlier today in the meeting, how you guys feel things and how long you wait and the different things you hear and feel out of the car.
Well, you know, I used to say all the time, you know, your butt never lies. What that race car is telling you, what you're feeling in the seat, you can never second guess. I'll second guess my crew chief. Yeah. I'll second guess the tire guys. I'll second guess everybody, but I won't second guess my butt. If that car feels like it's wrong, then you've got to believe it.
Said he won't second guess his butt. Interesting thing to say.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., 19th, Adam.
And remember when Wally and Kyle talked about needing a mouthpiece at Daytona? Well, I think Junior would have liked one on that first run of the night. Said the right tire really bouncing on the bumps. They've gone to work on it extensively on their first 2 stops. At one time, he was actually outside the top 30 after starting 19th, but he's coming to life, as he often does at Daytona, up to 19th in the running order.
Wow, look at that. Diving to the bottom goes the 83 at Vickers. He gets just in front of him.
Look at that 20 car up there next to the wall, man. It's like he was
Joey Laguna.
I want to say something about
Rookie
these cars.
Joey Laguna.
Since we've gone to these cars, and we were talking about Ryan Newman a minute ago, one thing NASCAR has done, they've put so much padding and so much bracing in the right side of these cars that the sides don't cave in like they did. We saw Michael Waltrip get into an accident on pit road during the Nationwide race last night. Caved the car in. Looked like it drove the frame rail in. These cars, they've got about 2.5 foot or 2 foot of padding, or I guess it's an insulation. It's like a foam in the right side. And the doors don't cave in, so they don't lose their structure. And as we look at the 39 car, you get a decent view of him. Yeah, it's scraped up, but it doesn't look. But what it doesn't do is when you hit that right rear and it moves that rear to the left, that changes the handling of the car.
Lindsay, the 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya visited pit road. What'd they do?
Well, you guys take a look at this tire. This is the right front tire. Juan said he felt there was a problem. He felt it possibly going down. And take a look at that shredding that you see on the outside. They brought him in. They had no other choice. They gave him new tires. And look at that. Right now, their focus is on staying back on that lead lap, guys.
And I don't think he's going to stay on the lead lap.
They're coming too fast.
At least he will be the only car 1 lap down. So if the caution does come out, he'll get it, but these guys will run him down.
Oh yeah, they're going to get him eventually. But you know, I was talking to a guy in the garage here, one of the drivers, and you know, he said the first practice, the racetrack was green, and they wore the right rear a little bit. When they went to the night practice, then it seemed that most of the pressure was on the right front. He said he ran about 10 or 12 laps, and he heard a ticking sound, He stayed out there for about 3 laps, came in, and his tire looked exactly like that tire. You see the tire comes apart, and it begins to tick and to hit the fender. And just like you said, always believe what your butt tells you. That's Montoya believing what he felt through the steering wheel and what he felt in his rear end.
And you look at that tire that Lindsay just showed us. I mean, you know, once they get to that point, they go fast. You know what I mean? You'll feel the car sliding and you'll know something's wrong. It's like, all right, I got to come in. But when it gets to that point, 1 lap, they just shred so fast. So you have got to be on top of it.
He was 25th before he pitted, Larry.
Well, yeah, well, I've been watching, you know, the first run before that first caution, we ran 12 laps. The next run before caution number 2, we ran 11 laps. This is by far, now we're at 15 laps, the longest green flag run. And this is when we started seeing some tire issues show up in practice. But Kyle and Wally, one thing that a lot of the teams lobbied for is NASCAR, in Goodyear, they give them recommended air pressures, but they mandate the right front air pressure, and here it was 50 PSI. The teams lobbied, let us take some air pressure out of the right front tire, because the pattern we saw in practice, the teams that were more up in air pressure on the right side tires, that seemed to be the ones that were having problems in
How do you
practice on
mandate
Thursday. So a lot of
something
the teams trying to get
without,
down on air pressure
like,
a little
checking
bit,
the tire
maybe
pressure?
to help this problem.
And they did that, Larry, really, because we're
An official would have to check it every single time we put it on.
When it comes to the tire pressure.
You'll always push the edge.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, whatever works, and it may be, I don't want to use the word dangerous, but if there's, you know, if it's on the edge a little bit and it's worth 0.2 of a second, we'll go there without even second guessing.
But understand, NASCAR comes, or Goodyear comes down here, and you do a tire test, and you do it under controlled conditions, okay? It's like an experiment. Then when you come back and it's a race, that's not controlled conditions. That's everybody trying everything they want.
Coming up is a look at Inglourious Bastards, Quentin Tarantino's new action-packed film starring Brad Pitt. Theaters everywhere this summer on August 21st.
I'm putting together a special team. We're going to be doing one thing and one thing only.
killing Nazis. I'm
Killing
gonna
Nazis.
assume you know who we are. Everybody in the German army's heard of you. Probably heard we ain't in the prisoner taking business. We in the killing Nazi business. Cousin, business is booming.
An American Secret Service outfit is deep behind enemy lines. The Germans call them the Bastards.
Well, we're all tickled to hear you say that.
The German High Command is throwing a gala premiere in Paris.
You're getting us in that premiere.
Is that the plan?
That's about it. Or not.
You're now in the hands of the SS. My hands, to be exact.
Glorious Bastards. Rated R.
Great job by Kyle picking out Mike Myers in there. That was great by you. And you can see they finally caught and blown right past Juan Pablo Montoya. He was a second slower than the rest of the pack with nobody to help him drive.
Yeah, but you're a sitting duck out there. You're running by yourself a second, second and a half, sometimes slower. And they're going to catch you. You know, they caught him in, what, 3 laps? He left the pits, and they caught him in 3 or 4 laps. And his best hope is that he stays where he's at and he gets a lucky dog, or, you know, he catches a caution.
And I can tell you this, too. You know, when you're up like in this situation, the leaders don't have much patience for a guy that's